Okay, I need to talk about the whole entire timeline. We need to fucking talk about what's been happening. First of all, this problem began or escalated quite quickly while Michi was here, which was the AC going kabloomy. If you know me, you know I like to exist in an icebox. I was quite literally raised like this. I think it's because my mom is from the Philippines and it's very hot. So when she came over here, and she likes the cold temperature, obviously, because it's way colder than it is in the Philippines. And so ever since I was a kid, she, without shit put a lot of this, of how I am now. She put that shit in, like, set that shit up from day one. One of the things being, I can't sleep in silence. The reason why I don't mind my fan being on 24/7 is because there's a sound happening. So I can't sleep with just silence. I don't know how people can do that. I can't comprehend it at all. I can't sleep in silence because when I was growing up, ever since, as long as I can remember, my mom has been very similar. So when I was a baby, she would always play music or sing me songs until I fell asleep. We also had a little bit of a fan on in the room. So I always slept with some sort of sound. And if there's no sound, I literally can't sleep. The other thing is she'd always have a fan on, not AC, just a fan. And so I've always just been used to that kind of colder temperature because I grew up like that because of how I was with my mom growing up. And that's also why I just do better in cold temperatures, a little better than other people. And why I've just always kept temperatures a lot cooler. When I was able to move out, I wanted to make sure that my place had central AC. And it became even more important because the music studio doesn't have a window. There's just a bunch of things to keep sound in for recording. Meaning, if there's no AC, the room can get like 90 to 100 degrees. So we need to have AC on in there. And the same thing goes for my room because these beefy PCs that we use need not an extremely hot temperature so that it doesn't overheat. And that is exactly what ended up happening when the AC broke while Michi was here. Mind you, Michi was able to do her little sponsored 6-hour stream normally because she's used to the heat. Me? No. My computer? No. Because after she was done with her stream, the PC was getting so hot that when I was trying to do my stream, my PC was just not working. And I knew at that point, I was like, this PC, she's cooked, bro. Hey, everybody. Numi here. Say that I'm going to be performing at Battle's concert November 24th at the Whiskey. If you guys want to come, tickets are going to be available in the description below or right here. Yippee! Gonna be super swag. Probably. I'll get back to the video. Basically, the old PC blew up, couldn't stream, and that's why that one day I had to move my stream the next day because we realized, oh, the AC is dead. Michi noticed it because she didn't need to wear 30 layers of clothes and use the heated blanket to sleep anymore because she felt comfortable. If she felt comfortable, that meant every other person in the house felt like they were gonna die. I walked downstairs, and a couple days before that, we were like, why is there just a random puddle? Where is this coming from? Is there a leak? We couldn't understand what was going on, but then we put in 2 + 2 = fish, and then realized, oh my God, it's coming from under the floor! And then we realized that the pipe was broken. But yes, I stood downstairs on the floorboard area where it was wet, and then I was like, wait, it's kind of cold this day, but everywhere else it's like really f***ing hot. This is strange. We walk over to the living room and notice another cold puddle area, and see that it went all the way outside to the AC box thingy majigger. Like I realized then that there was a problem, and yeah, I said, uh-oh, we are in trouble. I didn't know what to do. So obviously the first thing that I did was call the AC doctor guy or whatever. I just went on Google and looked up AC people near me. And I said, emergency, it's so hot, I'm gonna die. And then they sent some dude over who, you probably all remember this because I think this was like the same time that Michi was streaming, and then I kept coming up and everything just like every time I came back into her stream, I sounded more stressed out. Yeah, so the first thing that happened was the Uber Eats person dropped everything off in the completely wrong neighborhood, and I had to run outside like in my at-home pajamas and try to find them so I could give the Pookie or her little breakfast meal, whatever. And I come back, and then we have the AC guy come over, and he goes to tell me and my roommates, yeah, you know, like, whoever used or had this house before you didn't change anything that they were supposed to change. Yeah, they didn't change anything. This furnace, I have never seen a furnace like this in the past, my whole career. I look at this man, and then I look at my roommates, and I think to myself, what does bro mean by that? What does bro mean by that? And he said, yeah, this is probably from like when the house was built. Also, it seems that the previous homeowners, probably not to their knowledge, direct knowledge, probably wanted to get things fixed up to sell the house, and the person that was there with them tried to cut a corner, which obviously would make it okay for them to sell the house, but would be RIP to whoever buys the house next, which was me. At this point, I'm starting to realize what's going on. I was swindled. I realized it. He keeps talking. He said, yeah, as you can see here, there's a bunch of these like little pipe things that are coming out and literally just connected to nothing. I said, oh yes, I just thought that was a random cute little design that came with the house that was just super duper ugly. And the guy said, no, it seems that they just wanted to create a different thing without having to change out their furnace. So they added new pipes that weren't installed in a safe way. And a lot of people do this, and making it okay doesn't mean that it's safe. I said, oh, so he said, yes, and the way that they designed it would mean that if you had your heater on and something didn't work quite right, pipe bomb. Me and my roomie look at each other. We look back. Pipe bomb? I said, yeah, pipe bomb. I said, pipe bomb! Pipe bomb! And then bro says, yeah, and if this goes wrong, pipe bomb. I said, oh, pipe bomb! And then bro says, yeah, I recommend just getting a whole new like machine, but like the big problem is the vent, the air filter wasn't changed. That should be everything. I'm like, really? He said, yeah. And he's like, yeah, keep your AC off, but there's so much condensation from the icebox that powers your AC that's what's been freezing your pipes, because it couldn't even go through because of all this blockage. So it just turned into this giant ice box that when things would be turned off, all of the condensation would just pour out of the furnace area in the AC. So that's what caused the puddles to appear. And the reason why it was so cold on that one specific part of the pipe area is just because it couldn't get anywhere in the house because of the blockage. And I was like, right. So the fan that was going off was literally just a fan, like literally farting in the air. There was just nothing else with it. Nothing else. And I said, right. But the guy was talking to us in a tone that was just like, he didn't gaff. He was just there for the money, whatever. And anytime I tried to call them, they were just like, you should have listened to him and did this and this and this. And I'm like, but I don't think it's the extent of the problem. And they're like, nah, blah, blah, blah. And so, coincidentally, immediately after the AC dies and things get hot, I start to overheat, and then I got sick, and my roommates got sick. And I'm just sitting there next to Michi. I'm like, you see this? AC's off. Immediately I get sick, and she's like, right. And then afterwards, I start calling every single AC person in the area, and I'm like, you guys, are you able to like come over, like please, like? And they're like, yeah, we can fit you in 3 weeks. And I'm like, and then I hang up. I signed up for some newsletter for like 2 of them so I can get a call back so they can tell me if they have any availabilities. Didn't work. Instead, it put me on their f***ing mailing list, and they call me every single day saying, hey, you need AC help after it's been a week and a half or some shit. I'm like, I hate you all. And then finally I found a saving grace. I found AC Coon guy, and I was like, hey, are you guys able to come over like soon? And he's like, oh yeah, I can come over. I was like, oh yeah, thank you. This guy, we became friends. He is my goat. And the first thing he does when he looked at it, he's like, did you guys call anybody before this? And I was like, yeah, we called one of the companies. And he was like, which one? I know them all. And I said one, and he's like, ugh, them. And I was like, right. And then he comes in, and then he looks at it. He's like, oh, like, yeah. What did he say was the problem? I said the air filter. He's like, no, yeah, that's not the problem here. There's a lot of things that are wrong. And then he literally drew a diagram and talked about like the science behind an AC machine and how everything works. he said, so out of this vent, it should be cold air. And he takes me outside and he's like, and this should be hot air. What do you feel? And I'm like, cold air. And he's like, yep, that's not supposed to be happening. And I was like, no way. And then he looked at me. He's like, you know what? I'm going to treat you like my niece and I'm going to do whatever I can to make everything work for you again. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And I ended up talking to him for like 45 minutes afterwards. And then we're just talking about everything. I told him about what I do, and then he told me about his life. And then some of the things he said, he was like, yeah, you know, like I do AC work because it just feels great to see, like when you come in and you see how horrible they're feeling, and then you make their day better by fixing something like this, and you just see the relief on their face. And it just makes me so happy. And to this point, I don't even do it for money anymore because I don't really need it like that. I'm just doing it because I like to help people. And I'm like, that's how I feel with like my Noombas. And he's like, oh, what? And then I told him about you guys and the history of you guys and how happy you make me. And then he was like, oh, you know what? You're really fucking cool. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And then he told me about all of his like charity work that he does. And then he literally gave me a discount on like the best possible thing because he liked me. And then afterwards, it got upgraded to the best of the best because he has points because he owns his business. And then you get points with the manufacturers that you work with to use however you want. And he decided to use his points to get me a really good machine. And then he also fixed our water heater, which it turns out our water heater was 20 years old. That's one thing. And it was filled with sediment that is so big. They were like golf ball sizes. So meaning we were like showering in not cute water. And he's like, yeah, they never fixed that. And also this furnace has been here since the house was built. I was like, right. Cool. And he's like, yeah, the people cut corners and just never wanted to change anything. Meaning that this furnace has been here since like the late 1900s. Like, okay, cool. Love that for us. But a total for everything ended up being like $15,000, which is, but like cheaper than it should have been. I didn't want to do this, by the way. Obviously, nobody wants to pay this money, but I had no choice because when he looked at, like he came three times. The first time it was a temporary fix that lasted till Michi left. And then it broke again last weekend, which was, you know, why I couldn't stream on Sunday or really do anything was because we didn't have AC again. Because it turns out that when he tried to fix it, because he knows that I don't want to live here forever, he noticed that the AC box, the compressor inside just straight up broke, and the pipe next to it was just broken. So they had to give me a whole new machine. So yep. Everything is fixed now, and I'm just gonna. I told my dad, and he's like, "Yep, that's what it's like to be a homeowner. Random shit will happen, and then there goes 10,000-15,000." And then he told me about the one time our roof caved in our bathroom, and it cost like probably in today's money like 20,000 to fix. Cost 30,000 to fix our roof, and I'm like, oh, thank God that doesn't happen to me. Yep. But AC fixed, and then another thing, I was like, I can't be spending more money. I can't be doing anything. Like, I gotta be frugal. I gotta be frugal as And then he messaged me because we were talking about his charity work, and then I was like, I'm glad to help any way to help with your charity work stuff. And then he's like, with what you were doing, I was able to get a bunch of these bikes for these kids. And then he was sending a picture of where he donated it, and then he got this stuff like in my name, and then it made me really happy. And then he's like, I know you were saying you wanted to help. I can like come back and clean your vents or something, and we could just half the money and use the money to buy more people, like more kids stuff. And I was like, being frugal, yeah, let's do it. You know, I know that I'll be fine, but these kids probably need everything more than me. And so like today he sent me another update, and he got like 2 truck loads full of these toys for young kids and for older kids. He's like, you know, the young kids always get all of these toys and stuff, but I think a lot of the times like older kids need stuff too. People don't give as much love and affection to kids because they're older, and maybe there's more expectations on them saying, oh, they should focus on studying, whatever. So we were able to get a bunch of kids' bikes. We were able to get them all speakers and a bunch of cute little toys for the little kids, like little pianos and stuff. And I still have his number, and we'd be texting about doing more things in the future. So I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It is what it is. But now everything is fixed. We are back. hopefully, God, we could get to 3 streams this week. Lord, I am gonna do it. This I swear, starting with today. But I did want to give you an update on that, and we are doing good now. And there is AC, and it is. He got us such a good AC machine, unit, whatever, that like you don't even hear it. It has an app, so like if I don't want to go downstairs, I could just turn it off from my phone. Oh, it's so crazy. And homes won't die of heat stroke. It's great. We're like really just keeping everybody alive, and I'm happy. And he's like, I'm already thinking about how I want to do like your next place if you move out, how I want to do it so your studio can always be nice and cool. I'm like, oh my god, king. So yeah, love that guy. He was also a guy that turned his life around. He used to be like in gangs and shit, and he's like, yeah, and I got shot, you know, and then blah blah blah. And I'm like, excuse me, you got shot? He's like, oh yeah, like 3 times. Look, here's a scar. Like there's a bullet piece still part of me right here. And I'm like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I'll make sure like I treat you like part of the family. And I'm like, bro, I'm safe type shit. Like this is that's family, bro. That's Tito. Like that's homie for life. But yeah, we're all good now. And today we're gonna be doing a